Hello, Future Rossies and Pre-Med Explorers. This is Milena Garcia, your host for Ross University Checking the Pulse, a pre-med podcast. This is our mini podcast featuring facts and information about our medical program, insights from current students, and tips from practicing physicians. Each week, this broadcast will be broken down in small episodes, focusing on one aspect of our program, also having guests talk about their own experiences as students and as doctors. Welcome back, Future Rossies. This week, we will be focusing on student support services. This department is comprised of a dedicated team committed to student success. They oversee academic advising and student support services like mentoring, wellness, counseling, student finance, student organizations, and many other aspects of campus life. Joining me today is Dr. Brian Hayes, Associate Dean of Medical Sciences and Student Affairs. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining me again. This week, we'll be focusing on student support services. My guest is Dr. Brian Hayes, Associate Dean of Medical Sciences and Student Affairs. Dr. Hayes, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, happy to be here, Melina. Thank you. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Kentucky, Western Kentucky, where I did my grad and undergrad, and then quickly kind of traveled around the South, lived in Louisiana for a few years, where I met my wife of now 15 years. We moved to Nashville soon after, to Tennessee, so lived there for a little bit, and then Georgia, where our son was born many more years ago than I would like to admit at this point. And so, that's been kind of my journey before coming to Ross.
And Dr. Hayes manages several areas at RUSM, including academic advising, student faculty mentoring, student professionalism and integrity, wellness and counseling, campus life, new and continuing student orientation.
Yeah, and our team, I do that. Our team helps connect students with offices and services across the university. You know, that could be, other student support services, transitioning them from the island to IMF for internal medicine foundations and then their clinical clerkships, and helping them connect with student finance, immigration. Really, our goal is to be that one-stop shop. So if you're not sure who to go to or what the answer is, we can either answer it for you or get you there in one quick step.
Dr. Hayes, you also partner with faculty, fellow administrators, students, and to establish several student-centered initiatives focused on enhancing overall academic and personal development by empowering the students to achieve their goals. I think my first question to you, sir, when do you sleep?
Listen, we've got a great team here that I'll tell you what, that loves students, loves working with students, supporting them in the great times. That's always the highlight, and seeing the success. And supporting them in the low times and things aren't going as well for them personally, professionally, whatever that is, and helping them get through that, which also has its own bit of reward. And so, by no means do it by ourselves. I think many of the people that you've talked to before, you've seen some of that great team, but just a great team of people here that are here to support the students through everything.
What was your path to student affairs?
Yeah, good question. So most like anybody who's in student affairs, I kind of happened upon it, and I knew I wanted to go to grad school after undergrad. I wanted to, get that graduate degree, and to pay for it, I worked in housing to pay for that, as many do, and ended up liking it a whole lot, and kind of veered my career path at that point because, you got to interact with students on a daily basis, as well as, do things that impacted them positively. And so between working in there and then eventually moved over to administration, working in conduct, orientation, transition services, academic success, transition programming as far as academic transitions into school and through the semesters, health and wellness, fitness, et cetera. And so all of that kind of prepared me before, coming to Ross. And then, of course, at Ross, moving into medical education as the primary focus here.
Mm-hmm. And why did you choose Ross?
Yeah. So for me, it was twofold. One, from a professional standpoint, like I said, moving into medical education was a huge plus. I've really enjoyed what I've done before, working with undergraduate students, but working with professional students, as I'd done somewhat before, but this was doing it in a much more broad way. And so being able to do that and work with students kind of to achieve that dream, a very, very pointed dream of becoming a physician, although there's many paths once you get to that point, was exciting to me and still is. The other piece was, the idea, like I said, at that point, my son was 6 years old. And so my wife and I came to Ross, interviewed at that time in Dominica, but in the Caribbean. And the idea of bringing our 6-year-old to a new country, to work, to live that life, to see a whole different culture, was just really unique and interesting that I had not, I've grown up and lived in the same town my entire life growing up. My wife had done the same. So the idea to export him out of the U.S. Was really, really neat test at the time.
What a great childhood he must be having.
Yes, he is, absolutely. He's living all of our best life right now between sailing and everything else that he gets to do, and go to the beach every weekend. He doesn't understand it now, but one day he will look back and put us all to shame, I guarantee.
Right. I don't know who quoted this, and I have to look this up, but youth is wasted on the young, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's
yes. Dr. Hayes, what kind of academic support do we offer our current students?
Yeah, this is one of the things that I think for me that I'm the most proud of here at Ross is the amount of support that we give our students. We we'll talk about this when you come to orientation or in pre-matriculation when you come in, but it really is on you to take advantage of these things. Anywhere from the thing I'll start talking about is our faculty mentoring program. It's near and dear. We started the program about 5 years ago, and this is one where you come in, you meet with a faculty mentor. You're even before school starts, you start that group, and you're with that faculty mentor throughout the medical sciences. So for that first 2 years, where you'll meet with them and talk through a lot of your academic pieces, and they'll help triage you. If they aren't the expert, they'll get you either a teaching faculty member who is the expert in that specific area to help you work through that. The beauty of our teaching faculty, their main role is to teach, which means they have a lot more time to spend with you, working through the curriculum, working through the areas that you're finding a little bit more difficult. Or they may send you over to the Academy for Teaching and Learning, and those are faculty who are learning specialists, who that's what they went to school for, and that's the professionalism, the professional journey they've chosen is to help students in that academic journey from study skills, test taking, and many things like that to help students navigate not just the material, but how to ingest that much material and really go through it. Outside of that, we've got our library services that, as you are getting deeper in the curriculum and want to learn more or looking for research opportunities, have a great librarian that can help you navigate through that. And then, the other piece in student affairs that we do is our academic advisement, because as you go through the medical sciences, the clinical sciences, and on to residency, and et cetera, there's a lot of decisions and a lot of choices along the way. And so between our office in Barbados, where we work with you on those decisions that have to do with your curriculum and right now, and then get you start thinking about moving into your core rotations and then electives, and then our Office of Career Attainment and others on the clinical side you're going to work with that help you with those decisions. What electives to take, where to take those electives, what does your timeline look like, where are you looking to match what specialty, et cetera. So we make sure you're set up ready to go when that match comes around.
And you mentioned all the support that we give the students. So not only academic, but we also have the personal side of it, right? I understand your team also assists with the community building, wellness, professionalism. Can you elaborate on these programs as well?
Yeah, absolutely. We understand that medical school, the academics is half the battle, right? You're coming in, you've got to learn all this material, but although you are on an island, literally, I guess, when you come to medical science, we don't want you to feel like you're on an island, right? We want to make sure that you understand that you're within a community of learners, within a community of people who want you to be successful. And so, one of the other resources we give you right away is assign you to a student care coordinator. And that is one of our colleagues that have volunteered to help a student out navigate within that first semester. That's right. Melina is one of our wonderful SDCs. And the cool thing about this is somebody who you can go to really for about anything. I'm sure Melina could talk all day about the fun and exciting conversations that she's had. But this is anywhere from where do I go to shop in Barbados, to what does immigration look like, to wait, my mini's coming up. Oh my gosh, what do I do to go get help? Right? There's lots and lots of things that they can help you and connect you to those resources. And so they're kind of your transition from your new student coordinator coming from admissions into the university and travel on. Like I said, you've still got that mentor with you as well, who stays with you the full time, in medical sciences. But that SCC is really focused on that transition period of that first semester when there's so many things coming. Because again, You're coming to, for the vast majority, coming to a foreign country, coming to somewhere you've never been before. And so we've got a very broad reaching campus life program. We've got on-campus housing, we've got programs, we've got our Student Government Association that works to advocate for students, as well as they host over 50 student organizations that are all student run, student led, student organized, student started. And so while a lot of those stay with us for a long, long period of time, some pop up new every semester because we have a different grouping of students who have an interest in something different. Like, we've got our long-standing ones like, our career focused. You've got your medicine, you've got your peds, you've got your internal, you've got lots of your professional tracks, and then a lot of your religious oriented tracks. You've got a Christian organization, Muslim organization, Jewish Student Association, Catholic Student Association, and many more. And then some of our more lifestyle oriented, I guess, one that's called Pause that loves animals, and so does a lot of service learning or service in the community with to do with animals, animal rescue, etc. We've got a mixed martial arts club that discusses and even practices and exercises together that, and then a gaming club that just gets together to play games. Either we have an electronic version and then the board game version. Like I said, it's a social outlet and a professional outlet because it's important to do that balance. We've got our professional or our counseling or wellness and counseling department, a whole department for counseling and wellness that can do individual or group counseling for you or you and a partner with that if need be. We've got they also do programming as far as, of our Wellness Wednesdays, which is a big hit with our students, where right now we do, we'll do a meal, sit down, have a discussion with one of our counselors about a specific topic. And they also host a hike about a couple times a semester that'll go out with a lot of local community members who do hiking in Barbados. It starts early on Sunday morning, so if you're up for it, look out for that. And then the last thing I'll talk about, we've got an Office of Professionalism and Integrity, and that's just there, one, to help you figure out and what that means to be a professional in this new occupation and what does that mean for you, as well as it helps educate our students on what the standards are for RUSM professionalism, because what we want to make sure we do is have those standards set, and then a place for you to go if you feel like any concerns from you or another student to help you work through that with you.
And you mentioned the Academy for Teaching and Learning and the Counseling Center. I'll do a quick plug-in. I do intend on doing a podcast dedicated to each one of these departments. So everybody listening, check back for the episodes on the Academy for Teaching and Learning and the Counseling Center. We actually did one with the Latino Medical Student Association. We interviewed two of the officers. So definitely something to look at and listen to as far as the interest. I'm always amazed at how dedicated our students are to their academic goals and their personal goals, for sure. Our students work hard. Dr. Hayes, what have your priorities been at RUSM?
Yeah, first I'll say, creating and sustaining, of course, an inclusive environment for personal and academic development, right? Everything we do is geared toward that. And a lot of that, like I'm kind of repeating myself a little bit, but the kind of areas that we focus on, is community development, that developing you as a student, that community development, getting you connected to other people, that's, other students, your peers, as well as faculty and staff. They're going to help you along and help you identify not only your assigned mentor, but gain mentors along the way in the different specialties you're looking for. Wellness, talked about before, wellness is a big key to help students succeed, to make sure they're in a good headspace, that they're taking care of themselves. You can't take care of other people unless you're in a good place, right? So to make sure that you know how to do that from the beginning, so when you are out practicing, you continue that. And then at the end of the day, it's helping you find that career, and so that career or specialty, that advising that goes along with that. And then academic success is the undergirding, right? All these things are to help you be academically successful as you search out that career and decide what specialty is right for you. And so you've got the academics there to back up that residency application when it gets that very exciting time of going through the match process.
And how do you measure success?
For us, success is seeing students achieve their goal. And that goal is different somewhat for everybody. The path to it is definitely different for everybody. Mm-hmm. And although we take a lot of broad strokes of how we help students get there, at the end of the day, it's helping them to find that success and then seeing that success, moving past medical sciences, passing step one, doing well at step one, the score they're looking for. for when until it goes out of it doesn't have a score anymore. And then going on to step 2, and then matching into residency, et cetera, and then the specialty that they're excited about. And so for us, that's success. It's seeing the student reach those goals that somewhat they set in the beginning, but that change along the way as you learn more about yourself and about the profession in general and the options that are out there for you.
Speaking of success, I heard that you used to live next door to Bruce Willis.
So yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate the non-heads up on that question. So there's a film. So I'm from Paducah, Kentucky. You all can Google this. He filmed it there. I'm not gonna say the name of it. I'll let you Google that just to give you homework. But he filmed it. Actually filmed it about 6 houses down from me, but then lived a couple houses the other direction. Him and Demi, and I think they had 1 child at the time. There, and so every now and then people would see him at the store. He had a really small, a Piggly Wiggly next 2 houses that were just right down from me that we'd go to. You every now and then see them in there. And so I will say this is before the Die Hard days, and so this is a long time ago when I was very young. So.
Well, I once met somebody who had met Kevin Bacon. So there you go. You and everybody listening is now connected to Kevin Bacon through me, through her. So by 3 degrees.
There you go.
There you go. Dr. Hayes, any last recommendations or advice for our future Rossies?
Yeah, I get this question a lot of, what advice would you give me right now coming in? And I think it's twofold. One, everybody's always looking for what can I do to get ahead? And no matter what I say, that's always the focus, right? And so I'd say if you're looking for what can I do to prepare myself to be the most successful, I would say if it's been a while or you've got some deficiencies that you've noticed in, maybe physiology, biochemistry, or anatomy, that's a lot of what's hit hard in the beginning. And so it wouldn't be a bad idea to kind of brush up on those areas. If you've not had a large background in it, you're not going to be wasting your time. So that'd be a good place to put your energy if you must put it somewhere. Mm-hmm. But overarching, what I'll say is medical school is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You're going to be doing 4 years in medical school. You're going to do 3 to 7 years in a residency. And then after that, you may do a fellowship, then practice, where you're going to be continuing education, right? And depending on the specialty you get into, it may never slow down, right? There's different specialties that are a lot more fast-paced than others, and that depends on the lifestyle that you choose to live afterwards. And so what I'll say now is, while you can, if you're able to, breathe, rest, do something fun, whatever that means. It's different for everybody what that means. And it's not that you're not going to have downtime. You'll have some, right? Like I said, there's things of outlets we want to get you plugged into. But this is the time to kind of take advantage of that time you have. Because we know that it can be wearing on you when you do start many times. And so taking advantage of the little bit of time you have now, or time you have now until you start, absolutely, that's where I'd say is the most valuable use of what you got until you start.
This is great advice. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your insights with us. I appreciate it. And thank you for your time. And for everyone out there listening, thanks for joining us once again. We shall see you all next week. Thank you for listening to Ross University Checking the Pulse, a pre-med podcast. This is Milena Garcia, your host. This podcast is made for you, so let me know what topics you want us to cover on future episodes. You can send me your comments, feedbacks, and requests to mgarcia@rossu.edu. Definitely follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and our YouTube channel at Ross Med School, or on Facebook. If you're listening to this podcast on iTunes, I am working my way to 5 stars, so remember to send me your comments and let me know your ideas. If you're on Spotify, remember to click on the follow button to get our future episodes. All right. See you future Rossies and Pre-Med Explorers next week. This mini podcast is edited and produced by our in-house guru, Chris King.